Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about my Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. I've owned this Jeep for 2.5 years and I've driven it over 13,000 miles, and I think now might be the time to say goodbye. I'll explain everything in today's video, but before we get into it, as always, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Now, a quick overview. This is my 2022 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392 with the Extreme Recon package. I bought this back in February of 2022. Basically, someone ordered this, backed out, and I picked up their order. And back then it was really cool because this is finished in Tuscadero pink. As you can see, I do have satin paint protection film that I've had on since the beginning of ownership. And, you know, back then it was basically a 1-year color. They obviously brought it back for 24, and I'm still a little bit not happy about that. But overall, I mean, it's definitely a cool rig. 35-inch tall tires from the factory. And then the big thing with the 392 is you've got a big V8. And I mean, here, I'll do a remote start for you guys quickly. Yeah, it's loud. So you've got this cool hot rod engine in a bright pink Jeep. I think it's fun because every single time I pull up at a stoplight, people just think that it's a regular Wrangler, and then I destroy them in a race if they're a muscle car. It happens all the time with Corvettes and Mustangs. And when it comes to replaceability, I think this is irreplaceable at this point. It's basically brand new inside. I take really good care of my cars, despite the fact that I am a YouTube person, whatever you want to call me. And, you know, it also helps out that this doesn't have that many miles. Oh, I didn't have to turn that on for that, but yeah, 13,000 miles on the odometer, so really low mileage with it. Maybe not low mileage for the year because people don't drive Wranglers as many miles, but the most important part is we got ducks. People have handed these out to me, and, well, I gladly accept. Now at this point you might be wondering why I would even consider selling this if I've owned it for over 2 years and if it's still like brand new, and it is this thing right here. Not the things on either side, those are just press cars, but the thing in the middle. So this is the new Ineos Grenadier. I bought one of these about 3 months ago, and I have just over 3,000 miles on the odometer with this car. So for those of you that are math whizzes, you'll note that I'm putting way more miles on this per month than I have over the course of ownership with that thing. And that's because this is way more daily drivable than a Wrangler. It's not a convertible like the Wrangler, so you got a lot less wind noise. There's still quite a bit of road noise, especially since I have the factory Steelies on it. And I've only got the factory tires on it, which are pretty small. But like I said, it's more daily drivable than the Wrangler, and I think the interior on these are a little bit more exciting. That's not going to convince me to like one car over the other, but this is like not too different from a Wrangler in terms of the material use and everything. It's just this whole center stack that's the fun part with all of the switches. And then you guys can see with the kind of like cockpit style there, and then you got the Safari windows. Obviously the Wrangler is a convertible, so you can just take off the top instead of having windows that pop out. But yeah, I don't know, overall it's a really nice place to be, and it's shockingly similar to the Wrangler in terms of the overall setup. I mean, just look at like how these seats are set up, look at the interior dimensions, and it's basically the same width as a Wrangler. And if we pop back over the Jeep, you can see although the design is a little bit different, the material use is actually basically the same. And you look at the seats and kind of like the center console setup and the center stack. Again, very, very similar cabin, more similar than you would expect given the fact they're completely different brands. Anywho, even though this does not have an exciting engine like the Jeep, it's just BMW's B58, I've really enjoyed driving this. I've taken it off-road a few times. I've really enjoyed how it handles the off-road. It's not as capable at crawling as the Wrangler is off-road, but it's way more comfortable off-road, and it's more set up for overlanding, which is what I kind of want to get into with my wife because that's more practical for her, right? She'd like to go out and adventure, not be on the side of a rock wall and feel like she's dying. So yeah, I don't know. I can't really explain it logically. I mean, I can tell you some points, but for some reason, I just like the Grenadier more than the Wrangler, and I've been driving it more. And you know what? I think my license plate really shows you my thoughts on Jeep right now. I thought that was funny. I had to get that. But yeah, this has been a really fun car to own, and so I feel like I have 2 cars in the garage, the Wrangler and the Grenadier, that don't exactly do the same thing, but they do very similar things. And again, it's led me to only driving this, and I don't drive the Wrangler at all. Truth be told, I am really torn on the Wrangler 392 situation. So first off, I'm not a car collector, and that's why I'm considering getting rid of the 392, though it's such a cool vehicle. I don't drive it, and so it really doesn't provide utility at this point. Again, it's been a great backup car when other cars have broken down, but I just don't know if that's going to be an issue moving forward. Again, time will tell. That's why I'm being really patient with this process and not just jumping in and selling the Wrangler right away. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is I'm not a car collector. I have this vehicle that is, you know, still worth a decent chunk of change. I could probably sell this for somewhere in the low $70,000 range because it's Tuscadero pink and because it's got pretty low mileage and it's an extreme recon as well. I mean, I just saw a 33-inch tall tire version of a Wrangler 392 2022 model year sell for $70,000. So I think for my extreme recon, I could probably get something around that. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag. It's like, I love this vehicle. I have an emotional attachment to it. I've owned it for over 2.5 years at this point. But at the same time, it's money and it's something that I just don't use. And I don't know if that's going to change in the future. And that's the thing that I'm kind of debating in my head. Am I going to get more into Wrangler off-roading? And I don't know. I couldn't give you guys a yes or a no, but I kind of lean towards no, because I don't really enjoy the hardcore rock crawling. I enjoy the kind of like overlanding, you know, dirt roads, just exploring, right? I think that's the fun with off-roading, is going and exploring new places. Now, I'm not gonna be making any brash decisions with this whole Wrangler situation because, frankly, the Wrangler is irreplaceable. It's, again, like I said, probably worth somewhere right now on the market, somewhere in the $70,000 range. So if I got rid of it and then I regretted the decision, there is no way I'm going to be able to find another 2022 Wrangler at that price point, Tuscadero pink, extreme recon, that's in this condition, right? And then, you know, paint protection film is not cheap to add to a vehicle. So that's the other thing. If I, you know, let's say that I found one somehow, well, then I have to spend thousands of dollars to put PPF on it to make it look like what this one looks like. So like I said, irreplaceable from my perspective. So it's, I don't know, it's a tough decision, but it's a decision that I am going to take a long time to make. But I figured I'd make a video to tell you guys kind of my whole thought process. And, you know, maybe as I own the Grenadier over a longer period of time, maybe I'll get sick of the Grenadier and I'll come back to the Wrangler and like the Wrangler more. I kind of doubt it, but I could see that, I don't know. I guess I'll be open to the idea. I could see it potentially happening. I don't know how, because the Grenadier, if you don't know, is basically a G-Wagon, but without any of the luxury frills and with an engine that's been tuned for reliability. So people have been asking for a bare bones, just off-road G-Wagon, and that's what the Grenadier is. And that's what I've always wanted as an, you know, for an off-roader. Well, now I own it, and so it's kind of like, I don't know. The Wrangler, like I said, it's superfluous. I don't know why I still have it. I mean, I do know why I still have it. I like the vehicle, I'm emotionally attached to it, but I don't use it at all. I don't take it off-road. It's not because it's not capable. It's just that if I'm gonna go, like, for example, there's a lot of trails around where I live. If I'm gonna go on any of these trails, I'm gonna take the Grenadier because it's just, like I said, it's a little bit more comfortable. It's not as good at the crawling, but it's so capable that I don't care. I don't need the extra articulation from the sway bar disconnect that the Wrangler provides. I don't need the 35-inch tall tires. Again, the stock tires on the Grenadier, they're pretty dang small, and they've been more than enough for what I've done. I'm gonna be putting 33s in the Grenadier soon, and then it's gonna be beyond the off-road capability that I'm gonna be using it for. I'm not doing any crazy trails with it, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And so I will cap off today's video with one last question. If I do in fact decide to sell the Wrangler 392, should I just sell it outright, not replace it with anything, or should I replace it with a vehicle that's completely different? The only reason I bring that up is if I do sell the Wrangler 392, the vehicles we will have left is the 200 series Land Cruiser that my wife is still driving. I will have an update on that. By the way, we're finally getting my friend Doug to take a look at it, and the Ineos Grenadier. Now, I'm completely okay with that garage setup. Like, I love it. I love driving the Land Cruiser. I love driving the Ineos Grenadier. But I do have one thought in mind. My commutes are a little bit longer than they used to be. Yesterday, for example, my commute was over 200 miles in total. And it's not unaffordable for me to do that because, you know, the Wrangler gets 15, 16 miles per gallon. The Ineos Grenadier gets 17, 18 miles per gallon. Not the best, not the worst on the planet. But I have thought about getting something that's a little bit more fuel efficient. I mean, I've had that Prius this week, and that thing's nice on long commutes. It's not the most comfortable. It's not the quietest in the interior. It's an economy car, but the fuel economy is really good. So maybe I will replace this with, I don't know, a Prius or something like that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section. I guess one cool vehicle that I could replace the Jeep with that's fuel efficient is the new Land Cruiser, but still not sold on that because of Toyota's transmission and engine issues with their new vehicles. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think if I should get rid of the Wrangler, and then if I do get rid of the Wrangler, should I just get rid of it and move on and just drive the vehicles that the two that we have, or should I replace it with something? We'll see you.